Astonishing amount of people get their news from late-night comedians, so pushing past their sophomoric snark and addressing their claims is critical. Last week, the host of The Daily Show shared his thoughts regarding the future of American education under the Trump administration. More specifically, under the new Secretary of Education, Betsy Devos.
There was a time when America seemed committed to empowering all. And I mean, this was really after, World War II, when the government set out to provide free education to a lot of the veterans who came in, and that was the GI Bill.
The first problem with his statements in his interview stems from the false equivalency Noah draws by comparing the GI Bill's education provisions to free education in general. Yes, World War II veterans did not pay for their education monetarily, but by fighting one of the most important wars in probably ever. Sorry, Trevor, but compensating veterans for engaging in the priceless act of risking their lives is not the same as throwing more money at America's failing education system. Noah also claimed that Betsy Devos, an advocate for school choice, wants wealth to determine how much knowledge you can attain.
One of the saddest things is that America seems to be going back to a place where your wealth will determine how much knowledge you can attain. And so I think it's a scary time. If Betsy Devos gets to do everything she wants to, you will live in a world where even more people who do not have the means will now no longer have the opportunity to achieve the means.
Obviously, it'd be silly to only pick apart his deceptive rhetoric, but equating knowledge to government-funded education is pure, unadulterated demagoguery. How could you be against knowledge? The truth is, however, thanks to the rise of donation-based education services like Khan Academy or EDX, Americans have access to more knowledge than ever before in human history. Regardless, Noah is making an overarching criticism about Betsy's position on school choice, but his criticisms don't really have much substance. It devolves mostly into tired leftist talking points about how the government needs to spend more money on education, despite the fact that over 30 years, federal spending on education has grown by 375%, while test scores have remained stagnant. Most American children are required to attain knowledge from public schools that fall within bureaucrat-drawn districts corresponding to where they live. Low-income districts in poor neighborhoods are predictably not as good as districts from rich neighborhoods. Betsy Devos advocates for school choice, a system where poor families have the freedom to send their kids to superior, public, private, or charter schools outside of their districts. School choice, incidentally, creates competition amongst all schools, and the only real risk is sending dysfunctional public schools out of business. According to a meta-analysis of multiple studies conducted by the Cato Institute, on average, participating in a school choice program improves student test scores by about 0.27 standard deviations in reading and 0.15 standard deviations in math. In layman's terms, these are highly statistically significant. A study conducted by the Friedman Foundation also found the cultivation of public school competition through school choice benefited students immensely. When school choice suddenly becomes so widespread that it represents a serious threat to the continued existence of local public schools, as happened in Florida, Milwaukee, and San Antonio, the achievement of public school students rises in response. All that said, the main problem with Trevor Noah's statement lies squarely on the false dichotomy he constructs, essentially likening advocacy for school choice as
going back to a place where your wealth will determine how much knowledge you can attain.
It utterly misrepresents the opposing position. Before conforming to leftist dogma on school choice, even far-left politicians like Senator Elizabeth Warren championed school choice during her time as a Harvard Law bankruptcy expert and financial consultant in an expose titled The Two-Income Trap. Her political opportunism aside, the issue regarding America's failing education system just isn't as simplistic as Noah and others portray it. The rhetoric used in this interview is precisely the sort of hyper